Okay, so we also call it as creating variable. So it has two part. One, the data type, int is data type, x is the variable name. Okay, so these two things are required to declare, to make a variable. Okay, all are comment, so these are not part of program. Only one line is a program, this int x. So this is what I am creating one variable. Okay, fine. So in a class, our variables are there. In a class, methods will be there. Now let's understand what the variables data types can be of. So there are so many types of variables also. Okay, so in the data type, there are major two kinds of data type we have in Java. One, we call it as a primitive or standard data types. Okay, now primitive or standard data types are the data types that we use in our day-to-day programs, and which are varies as per their size and type of data. For example, the byte data type in Java, we use the in a small. This is the smallest with data type that we use in programming Java programs, which is having a size of 1 byte, which is equal to 1 bit. The other variable which are called as a sort, which has a bigger than byte of double size, that is a 16-bit of data. The int, which is just now we have seen, which occupies which allow you to store 32 bit of data. It is enough data to store a numeric value. If you want to store some bigger integer data, then we will use this long, which has a 64-bit of size. Now there are some other data types which allows to store numeric value, plus it allow you to keep the fraction part also if you have some decimal numbers. So in the decimal numbers, you have to specifically have to use the other data types. The int, long, short, byte, those will not allow you to add the decimal values. So the float data type, which is used to store a decimal value, which is the size of the float is equal to the size of int, but the difference is the float will allow you to put the decimal data also. If you want a decimal data which is a big data, then you should use the double data type. Okay, this double data type is used to store the decimal data which is a big in size. Now if you want to store the text value, alphabets, characters, so the smallest is smaller data type, we have a char. If you declare a variable as char, so it will allow you to store 16-bit of data, that is 2 byte of data. Okay, there is another data type we call it as a boolean is a data type which occupies 1 bit of memory, the smallest one, and normally we use this data type to keep some logical value like yes or no, true false kind of thing. Okay, so these all are known as the primitive or standard data type. The second one we have called as a derived data type. Now derived data type are actually data types which are built upon those primitive data types. So primitive data types we already have, right? Now using that primitive data types, there is another data types are derived. Okay, and those are used for many purposes. For example, on this screen I'm showing the string data types. So actually in Java, this string is a class. It's a pre-built, pre-available class in JDK. which allow you to store a series of characters. Okay, so we'll come on later to understand what this string is going to be used. Okay, so these are the data types. If you know, then you can write many Java programs which require memory access, the data storage and all. So you should understand these data types. Okay, fine. Now, just now I have told you that what the variables are. So I hope you are very much clear about the what the variables and how it is related with the memory location on the RAM. Okay, declaration of the variable, we have understood how do we declare, just by putting the variable name, and before that we use the data type. Okay, now what is initialization? Whenever we use any data types, okay, so now if I ask you, like, I have declared variable int and x, so it's a memory location. So if I ask, like, what the value of x is right now, what is the value into this x? So whenever I declare a space, so I told you that initially when I declare a space, it has blank, right? The name is x, the type is integer. But what in the derived data types, what happens, whenever I declare, whenever I create a variable, automatically it initialize it with some default value. So it doesn't have a blank initially, it has an initial value into it. Now what the initial value, it depends upon the data type, what data type that you have used. So in case of int, this x value will be initialized with value 0. So initially it has a value 0. Initialize means what? The initial value. So when I just declare this variable x, automatically the value of x is 0. So it is not blank. Okay. So this is the default allocation of the value. But what if I want to assign or add some value into it? So you can do it directly by assign operator. If I write is x equal to and some value, so it will assign the value, right? But you have to understand what is the location, where should I declare, where should I assign. At this point of time, in a class level, I am declaring a variable and I am assigning a variable, so it is showing me an error. So there are some certain rules that we have to understand, that how to initialize and how to assign value. Okay, so we'll come later on this. So I'm just removing with this because this is not correct. So and this is not the position where we should initialize. Either we'll initialize like this by 0, and if I have some custom value, if I want that from the beginning it should have value, suppose 10, so I can write like this. So in this particular line, what I am doing, I am declaring a variable x, and also I am initializing a variable 10. So there are two things I am doing at this line. I am doing declare variable x and initializing with value 10. So two things I am doing. Okay, so this is called initialization, where I am assigning some value, and this is called the declaration, where I am declaring, I am just defining what the variable name and what is the data type. Okay, fine. So by default, I told you that the primitive data types are automatically initialized. Okay, but if I want, I can assign it. Now literals. Now what the literals is actually, literals is nothing but the value that we are going to assign in a variable. Just now in our example, the value 10 that I have stored, this is a literal. Okay, if you don't know, if you don't want to know like what is the literals is, so there is no make difference, right? If you want to write a program, even if you don't know what is literal, but I know like this 10 value is the value, right? So I have to concern with this writing program with the value and the variable. Okay, but for you, the literal, if you know like literal is because manywhere you will hear this keyword literal. So just for your information, like just for a knowledge purpose, I'm just telling you this literal are nothing but the value that we are going to assign. Okay, now this is the value assigning for the integer type of data. Okay, now what if the other data type that if I'm using? Now suppose I'm using a float data type. Okay, now float is, suppose there is a variable called rate. In this variable I will store the rate of some article, some product. Okay, and the rate is in some decimal in the fraction part. So I can assign like this 10.5 suppose. Now this is the value 10.5 that we are going to assign into the float variable. Now I told you that this will accept the decimal value, but I can see there's a red mark is showing. That means there is some mistake. What the mistake is, whenever I assign some literal to the data types float, we have to specify a small f at the end. Otherwise, if I'm not providing the f, it treat this value as some other data type. Okay, if I write like the post this 10, it will treat this integer. If I put some decimal point, so some other decimal variable like the double, it can treat, right? So to specify it's a float, I use a f. Okay, so this is a float data type. Now if I want to store a character, the char data type, I told you that a char data type will accept a character. Okay, so how to store a character? So just declare the data type and the variable name. Okay, the variable name is suppose my char. Now what to store? Now what is the character? Now character are all the keys, the symbols printed on your keyboard. That means you can store all the letters A to Z, caps A to Z, number, and all these special symbols, whatever symbols you have in your keyboard, whatever. Each symbol are one character. Okay, so suppose I want to store capital A into this variable. If I write like this, it will not allow. A character value are enclosed with single quotes always, otherwise it will not allow you to store. Fine. Okay, and the boolean are written like this. Boolean, suppose I want to store the answer given by a portion. Suppose I ask you some question like this is currently it's a day or night. Okay, so if the answer is yes no, so there are some question of which the answers are yes or no, true or false kind of thing, yes or no. Okay, so suppose answer variable, if I want to store yes or if I want to store no. Okay, so clearly you can see if I want to store the value yes, so there are three characters. Okay, but I don't want to store three characters. Why to waste memory? Why can't just store in place of this true? Now if I write this true, it has multiple characters 1 2 3 4, but in memory it will store only one bit of memory. It will take only one bit, and that's why it's a character. It's not a character, it's a boolean value. Okay, so if I write true or false, it occupies only one bit of memory. Okay, fine. There are certain rules whenever we initialize the value into a variable. What the rules are? Each variable should be initialized with some value. It's a default rule, but as I told you that the primitive data types are initialized automatically, no need to initialize. By default, Java initializes the value with the default value. Okay, we know it. Okay, so this was the variable. Now come to the methods. What is method? Methods in Java programs are the functionality. Functionality means what? What this class is going to do. See, I am writing this program to achieve something, right? To do something. Now, so first of all, we have to understand what I'm going to achieve by writing this program. Why I'm writing this program? What I need this? What the output will be? What is the purpose of this program? Okay. For example, I am writing this program to display hello. Okay. So the purpose of writing this program, I'm writing one comment. Purpose of this program or class is to display hello. So this is what I want. Okay. Now to if I want to display something or to do any activities, one activities or multiple activities, I have to write into a method or a function. Okay. So to display hello or to do any other thing activities, right, I have to make a method. Now how our methods are written? For now I will write this. Okay, just forget this public, I will tell you later on. I'm just writing void. So I'm giving us the round bracket, the start and the end. Now see what is this. I've written this void. There's a so. Okay. Now so is the name of this method. Okay. Method name is so. Now this bracket given after this is required whenever I'm making a method. This bracket is required at the end of the method name. Okay. This method is going to be used to display hello. Okay. So you have to specify the name of the method in a way so that this method name will indicate the output of this method or the purpose of this method. Okay. So there are certain naming conventions are also there in Java. Okay. So I will cover it in a later session. So this particular section, I can see, you can see this is the method body. This is all the method. The variables are written in single line, but a method can have n number of statement, n number of line into it, because it's not a single statement, it's a set of statements. So whatever I want to do, I can write into this section. So for now I have to display hello. Okay, so in Java, if I want to display on console or the prompt something, I have to use system.out.println, and under that I am going to display hello. So I have to write in hello. So this statement will display hello on my command line. Fine. Okay. So in my program, in this class test, now I am having a method called so. And what this so method contains, it has a statement written to display hello. Okay. So let's try to run this program and see if it is running or not, if it is displaying hello or not. Okay. So now again I'm recompiling. So it is compiling, just see at the lower side. Now again, if I try to run it, I'm not seeing any run menu. Why? Because as I was telling you that the Java program needs the starting point. I'm just writing back the variable initialization. So in this Java program, I'm having one variable x and having one method so. But the Java is not getting understand like from where it has to start, what exactly it has to do, because I have a so method. The class may have some other methods also. So a Java class which is executable, if you want to run the Java class, then you have to add one method which is a main method. The main method is a method which is actually the method which is going to run at the very first. That method will run the other methods in a program. Otherwise, you are not going to run the program. So there is no compile issue, there is no syntax error, but to run the program, I have to add the Java main method. Now the main method, the syntax for main method is standard, it's a fix. You have to write this public static void main, and in the bracket I have to define one args. I will come on later what this main method is. Now this particular method will be executed at the very first. Okay, right now in this program, if I again try to compile, now you can see one run option is coming. Earlier it was not coming. Now because the main method is there, so this program is going to be executed now. So when I press this run, the IntelliJ IDEA tool will first compile automatically and then it will run. So no need to do the compile and run. Directly I can do the run. So it will compile internally and run it. So if I run it, can you guess what is going to be do? So whenever I press run, it will go to this main method. It will run this main method. And what is written in this main method? I can see nothing, blank. Let's see. I'm just pressing this run. The program is executed. This is the execution statement, and this is the end line. Means the program is completed. In between, I do not see any output, nothing. Why? Because this main method does not have anything written into it. Okay. Suppose I write a system out println unto this and write over a welcome. That means in this program I am having one main method which actually try to show a welcome message. Now again I am trying to run, right click, run. Now see, I am seeing a welcome message on the prompt. Why? Because this main method consists of a statement. If I write multiple statement into it, so now I have three statement, three print statement. So let's see what is happening. So I am getting all these three messages on the prompt. Okay, so that's why I'm telling that in the method, the body contains n number of statements. Okay, so in this program I'm having one variable x, I'm having another variable so, I'm having another method called main. So there are two methods, one variable. Whenever I'm running a program, this main method is going to run. Right now this so method is not getting executed. Why? Because whenever you write a program in Java, you have to tell that which part is going to be called or executed. Right now, if I am not telling anything, so automatically the main will run. And if I want to run some other part of the program, then we have to specify that I want to run this so or any other method. Fine. Okay, I will come on that how to do that. Fine. So if you want to run some other part of the program, so you have to understand how to call the other part would be the variables or the methods. Okay, so now calling methods or calling variables, Now how to do that? Now for example, in this program, if I want to see the content of the variable x, I told you that initially whenever I declare a variable x, automatically it assigns some value. Okay, if you have remember, please wait and see what the value is. Okay, so I told you that there are some initial value is automatically assigned into it. How to see the content of this variable? If I want to see the content of the value and I want to print over here, so how to do that? So for that, the method into it, the show method or main method, there are two methods that I am having right now. I will use these methods, okay, to call that value. Now see, now I am removing this message displaying statement. Now I want to display the content of x. So anything I want to display, again I have to write this system.out.println. Okay, in the bracket I have to provide whatever I want to display. If I want to display any constant value, fixed value, then I will use in double quotes and fixed value. This is my fixed value. Okay, so it will display hello. But if I want to display one variable, I have to specify the name of the variable. So what is the name of variable? The name variable is x. So if I put this x, I should be able to display the content of that x logically. But I can see one red message. Okay. No. So the red message means what? I'm having some issue. This is the compile issue. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to run it. Now it is showing some error message. So this is a compilation issue. So there is a compile issue. I will come on that. What the issue is. Now, since I have declared a variable as integer over here, this is called the class label of declaration. That means I have declared in a class. Okay, I can declare a variable inside a method also, like this, int y equal to 10. Now I can declare a variable like this also. Now this declaration is done under the main method. Okay, and this variable is declared in a class label. The main method is declared as static, and I told you that this is a standard fixed syntax for writing main method. We can't do any change. This is a static method, and in my next session I will explain you what are the static. These are various access modifiers. For now, if it is a static method, it cannot access, it cannot print or capture or access anything which is not a static. Not static means what? It has to be declared as static, like this. This is a static integer variable, and if I don't write the static, it is a non-static integer variable. Okay, a static method can access only static variables. So right now this int is not a static variable, so it is showing a red compile issue. If I write static, now this error is gone, so it will easily access the value. Okay, now what the static means, I will tell you that in my next session I will cover those things. But just for now, if you're writing a program which has a main method, and if main method is trying to access something from outside of the method, so you have to be declared as a static. Okay, so for now this program, if I run, it will execute the main method. In main method I have declared a variable y, but I am displaying variable x. So this program will display the content of x. I'm going to run it. Now see, it is printing 0. What is this 0? 0 is x, and I told you that whenever I declare variable, it initializes with some value, and which is 0. If I initialize this value with some value, okay, now if I run, it will display 12. Similarly, I can print the value of y and see, right? And if I want to show both the values x and y, right? Okay, one rule. In the class label, I can declare a variable like this without any value. There is no issue. But if I declare a variable inside a method and if I do not initialize any value, see it is showing one error. What the error is? Just run it. It says variable y might not have been initialized. It is saying the value of the variable y is not initialized. But in case of x, it is not saying this. So whenever I declare any variable at class level, it automatically initializes with value 0. But if I declare a variable inside a method, which is called a local declaration, it always requires a value. So it will not initialize with default value. So I have to initialize with some value, whatever value I want as per my requirement. Okay. So this is what the value assigning and calling of the variables from the main method, right? Okay. Now come to the string part. So we have seen the integer values, how to call the integer values, how to assign the integer values. Now little bit on the string side, what the string variable and how to use the string variables. I told you that string variable is used to assign the characters values. Okay, if I want to store a single character, I will use a char variable. Okay, like this. Okay, but if I want to store a series of characters, like suppose my name, if I want to store my name, so I cannot store my name in the char variable. I cannot write like this. Why? Because it will allow to add only single character, not multiple character. So it will not allow to do this. So if you want to store a series of characters, then you have to use the string variable like this. This is a string variable which can store multiple characters as into a single variable. And how to do that? Just assign in a similar way, but in double quotes. Now see, in double quotes, all the string variables are written. Okay, so now this value, this value, this the value of this name is this the assigned text, and we use the variables in a similar way how we use the integer values. So if I want to display the value of my char and name, okay, now again let's see how to do that. I will use this my char into the string system.out.println, and I will use the name. Now can you guess what the issue is at this position? Put a mouse, it will show you the issue. And we have gone through the int also, right? What the static is missing, because these are non-static variables, so it will not allow to access. So I am declaring a static. Okay, similarly I am doing this static for string also. So the error is gone, and now just run it. Fine. So I am able to see all the values of the string as well as the integer. Fine. Okay, now this string is actually a class in JDK. JDK provide this class, and if I'm calling a class, that means class must have some methods into it. Okay, so this string provides many methods into it, which we can use. We can call it to do some other operations whenever we required. So if I'm using any classes which is not made by me, someone else has coded this, and if I know the methods, what are the methods and what the purpose of those methods, so I can easily call those methods and I can achieve my purpose using those methods. Okay, so this is a predefined class string, and this string class provides many facilities. Let's see. So I've shown you just static, calling the static method. Okay, so this string, I told you that this is a class, and this class is already available in the JDK, and JDK provide those classes in some folders which are called as a package. Okay, so JDK have provided some folder structures into, they have added the predefined classes and those classes that we can utilize in our program. So no need to write those functionality once again. So the string class is reside under a folder called lang, and the lang folder contains under the folder called Java. So this is the folder structure. The top folder is Java, under that we have lang, and under that we have a class called string. So this complete path is known as a package. So package in Java nothing but a folder which contains my classes. So this package is provided by JDK itself. Okay, so we can directly use this package and access the classes into it. So all the java.lang packages are automatically added into every Java program, so we don't need to write any special line statement to use that. So directly I am using this string class in my program without writing any additional statement. Automatically this package, java.lang package, is added into my Java class. Okay, fine. So I told you that how to declare it and how to assign some values, how to display the values. Now you can add some values into your string variable. So the variable is name. Okay, and suppose if I want to display my name is and the value of this. So if I want to display like this, my name is and the variable. So in this particular line, this name part is variable and the rest is fixed, that is constant. So the constant strings are written in double quotes and variables are written without double quotes. In this line I am merging two things, some constant and some variable. So to add those we use a plus symbol. This is a string concatenation. I am concatenating two strings. This is also a string, this is also a string, but the left side string is a constant string, right side string is a variable string. That means the value of name that I can change from here. Okay, I can do whatever change I want. So now it will display what? This is the constant and the value of this variable. Let's see, right? Similarly, I can do this with integer variable also. Like suppose here I am concatenating one string with a number, so it will display the value of this variable. Run it. So this left part is a constant string and the value. So this is the showing the value is 0. 0 is what? The x. Okay, fine. Now, as I told you that this string is a class which provides many methods into it, and that method are very much used in programming whenever we do some of the string programs which require some string operations. So there are certain very important methods which is required in day-to-day programs, which are like length method. Length method belongs to the string class, which is used to find the total length of the string. Okay. Caret function, which used to find the character at a particular location. I will show you the example. Just now I have shown you how we concatenate two string by using plus sign, but string class also provide one method called concat. We can also use this method. Equals method is used to compare two different strings if they are equal or not. We check the position of a particular character in a string by index of. If you want to convert the case of the text, if I want to convert in uppercase or lowercase, we have two methods, two lowercase, two uppercase. Okay, so let's see how to do that, various methods. I'm just removing all this thing now. So first of all, if I want to know the size of the variable name, size of variable name is what? The size of the content of the variable. So if I write this name and to call the method, put a dot. So name is a string variable and string is a class, so it will provide you many methods. If I write length, so it will display you the length of this string variable. So it is showing 18. You may count. Total character will be 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Space is also a string. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Fine. So this is what the total length of the string variable. Okay. Second, if I want to find the position of the letter K in the string, at what position the K is, so we call it index of. In the bracket, I have to provide the character, which character I want to find, and I told you that the character values are written inside this single quote. Okay, so it will find the letter K and it will display the position number of that K into that name. It is showing at 7 number. Now the position number start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now at the 7th position from the starting here, you can find the position of the K. Right now, the next method is caret. Caret, it asks you to provide one number. Okay, like suppose 4 I provided, so it will display the character at the position number 4. It is showing O. So start with 0. If you count 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, so this 4 is the character at this location. Okay, now the concat method, as I told you, concat method is used to add a string with another string. So if I want to concat name with some other text or some other variable, I can use it. So I have written one space and hello. So I am adding name with the hello. So what will display? It will display the content of name and then the hello. Okay, I can do this by using plus symbol also, as I've shown you earlier. Right? Okay. Now type conversion. Now what is this type conversion? Type conversion is nothing but whenever I'm assigning some value from one variable to another variable, or if I'm doing some assignment to a variable, right? So at that time we do some conversion. Now what kind of conversion is. There are some called automatic type conversion. Automatic type conversion means what? If I am assigning some value to a variable, okay, and if the values are having the same type, so automatically the type will be converted. Like suppose if I am doing int data into 5.6, okay, now you can see what is happening over here. It is showing at right side I am having double, because 5.6 becomes the double digit, a decimal number, okay. Left side I am having int, so automatically this 5.6 is not getting assigned into int. It is not getting assigned because the right side data is a double and the size of double is big, so we are not able to store the big data into the small data, okay. But if I write int data equal to 2 or 3, so this 3 is a number, okay, it's an integer, it may be a long, right, and it automatically getting stored, so there is no special conversion I need to do. It is automatically conversion is happening, automatically it is getting stored into the variable int, okay. Now in the earlier one where the right side is treating as a double, if I put a f, okay, now f becomes the float, again it is not compatible because it's a float and it's a number, okay, and number doesn't allow a float value, so again it will not allow to store this float also. Fine, okay. Now if I do the reverse one, as I told you, if I declare a float value my data, and if I store x into it, x is what? An integer. You can see it is automatically storing. Why? Because see this is a decimal value and this is a non-decimal, so a non-decimal value can be stored into a decimal value. There is no issue on that, okay. Similarly, if I have a double value, I can store x as well, because the double is having a big size, so x is having a small size, I can store it easily, there's no issue, okay. But what will happen if I do some reverse thing, and how to do that? So in case during programming sometime it happens that I'm having one float data, okay, and I want to store the data into an integer. I want to store in integer, I want only the integer part I want, okay. I want the value without the decimal part. So if I write like this rate, it will not allow. So if I want to do it this forcefully to int, I will write int over here like this, okay. This is called typecasting. Typecasting means what? Forcefully I am converting this data into the integer. The right side data is a float, but I am converting into the integer, and this is not actual conversion, actually we are typecasting, and where here there are the chances of the loss of the data, because we are storing some different data types, different data. It may be a difference in size also, to a different size in the lower side, so there may be not compatible, right, so there may be chances of losing some data. So this is what called the conversion of the data by typecasting. If I want to see that what the data are stored into it, so let's try to display. I'm removing this part and just want to display the new value, new rate. See, this is again it is requires static, Now run it. Now see, this new rate is showing 10, but actually the rate is 10.5. Same rate I have assigned to this int, but it is not showing the 0.5 value. Why? Because it will not allow to store the decimal part. But forcefully I have converted, right? Okay. So this will happen, right? If you try to store a large value to a small value, so automatically the data will be converted. You have to by typecasting, but the chances of losing of some data. Okay, fine. Now what will happen? Suppose if I'm having a variable of string type. Okay, let's see inside this. I'm having a string variable. And as I told you that this string can have any number, any type of characters, 0 to 1, A to Z, any special character, anything it can store. That means I can store 0 to 9 also. So if I write 100 and if there is an int, if I see these two variables, right, one is integer, second is string, both are having 100 logically, but there is a difference in the type. This 100 is stored as number, okay, but this string variable contains 100 as string. The values look same, but the types are different. Okay, the 100 number can be stored as a string, as a number. Okay, the difference will be their calculation. Calculation means what? I can write my num plus 100 or suppose plus 2. That means I'm adding plus 2 to this variable. Let's see. So I want to display my num plus 2. That means it will display the my num value and the plus 2. So how much it will be? It should be 102, right? So it's a number, and if I use plus symbol with number, so it will add this. It's a numeric addition. So it will do the arithmetic addition to this number. But if I use this my data, this is string, and if I use plus symbol with a string, so it will not do arithmetic addition, it will do the string concatenation. It will concatenate or append this string. See, it is showing 102. It is not 102, it is 102. It is concatenated, appended the value of 2. So this is not numeric addition, it is simply string concatenation. I show you both together. My num plus 2 and my data type. This is integer addition, and here is string concatenation. Okay, so what if I am getting some value as a string, but I want to do arithmetic calculation. I want to do arithmetic calculation onto do. So this way, if I write, it will not do arithmetic calculation. It will simply concatenate. Okay. So to do the calculation, arithmetic calculation, I have to convert this string into integer. So how to do that? If I want to store the value, I want to store the value of this my data after converting to integer. So there's a way how to do that. I will write this integer. There is a class called integer dot parse int, and under that if I pass this my data, integer dot parse int is a this is the class, this is a method. I am calling one method parse int and I'm passing the string value. So this will convert the string to number. Now this value 100 converted into the number, and now this number I can use to do the arithmetic calculation. I cannot use this variable, but I can use this variable. Now see, okay. So this way we convert a string to a integer. Okay. Now let's do some problem solving. Okay. So in this method, there are two variables a and b. Variable a is a type of byte and b is also a type of byte. And a is equal to 10, b is equal to a into 10. I am multiplying this and I am showing the value of b. Can you guess what will happen? Okay. Now if I ask what this 2 is, what the type of this 2? What the type of this 10? What is the type of 10? Whenever we type a number, automatically it treated as double. And left side we have byte. Okay. So it will show you one error, right? It may treat double, it may be treated as int, so it will not allow to assign. And we have seen that also whenever we are trying to assign some float value into int, so it will not compile. Okay, fine. Okay, now array, we have seen what the variables are. Okay, now in array, if I want to store the series of values with the same name, okay, like if I have to store the age of 10 people, okay, age of 10 people, 10 persons. So normally till now we know, like, okay, to store a age I have to create one variable, like suppose int age. So I will store the age of some value, some portion. Okay, now if I want to store the age of another portion, I will create another age like this. Okay, similarly I will make for other peoples, right? But what if I having 100 persons, 1000 persons? Okay, so it's a very huge program, right, to declare the 1000 variables with a 1000 different names, and to handle those 1000 variables to the program. So program will become too complex, right? So what Java provides you, it provides you a technique to store multiple values. So in our case, for example, I want to store the age of 10 peoples. So all the 10 peoples will have age in numeric type. So we know that I have 10 numeric values. So all the values are of same type. So in spite of using 10 different variables, I can make one variable, and I can store all the ages of all persons together. What I will do, I will make one bracket symbol like this, and I will use a curly bracket, and I will start writing the age like this. This is the age of first portion, second portion, third portion, fourth, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now see what is happening over here. Here I have written int age. So the type of variable is age. But I have written one bracket symbol. This bracket symbol indicate that this is an array. It's not a single variable. Obviously it's a variable, but it is a special variable. We call it array. So array consists of multiple values. Okay. Now this single variable has stored all the values. All 10 values is it stored. Okay, with the same name. The name is age. Okay, but how to display the value? If I want to display get any particular value, so these are displayed using their position number. Let me show you. So array are stored in memory with the name. The structure is like this. These have multiple boxes are individual values. Each values have a position number. We call it an index number. It starts with 0. These index number are used to get the value, to access the value. So if I want to display the age of the first person, of the third person, or the fourth person, I will use the variable age, and in bracket I have to pass the position number, like suppose 0. 0 means the first position. Let's run it. It is showing 24, right? The first portion. If I pass 5, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, this portion. So it should display 21, right? So this is what an array is very helpful to write this kind of program where we are using a group of similar types of data together, okay, like we've seen for the age, okay. So this type of data that we have stored, we call it as a one dimension. One dimension with, like, we have one row like of structure, okay. So just now we have seen like how one type of structure is used for storing the marks, the age in our case, okay. Now we have seen the example for the integer. Similarly you can use for the string also, like I have to store multiple city together, you can store it like this also. While declaring, this bracket, array bracket symbol are used in this way also, before the variable name, or you can use after the variable name as well, okay. Now there are something called double dimension array. Now what is double dimension array? Double dimension array are little bit more complex, more useful also, where we have we are going to store multiple rows of data, multiple rows of data, in a sense, like, see, it store the data in a matrix kind of format where we have a multiple rows. In single dimension we have seen one row of data, okay. Now here we have multiple rows of data, okay. For example, I want to store the marks of various subjects in one single variable. What I am trying to say, suppose this is the marks, okay. So this is the marks of 10 persons of one subject, suppose for maths. This is the maths marks of 10%. Similarly, I can create the marks for science as separate variable. I can make like this, marks 2, marks 3 kind of thing. But I can write a single variable to keep the marks of 10 peoples, 10 students you can say, and 4 subjects, okay. So how to do that? First of all, in place of single dimension array we use this single one bracket symbol, and if I have a double dimension array I will use one more brackets, okay. Now how we assign the value, there is a little difference. So this particular value is for math, so I will put in a curly bracket,